How's everybody doing? Peace out is the boss. Hello, hello.
What's up, Boston? Hey, Eric.
How you doing?
Hey, Eric. Hey, y'all. What's going on? Is that you? Oh, follow it. They need to activate coming because they literally put our names to where we're supposed to sit. We're not allowed to eat for ourselves. They dress us, they tell us to stand. I'm glad. It's totally. This interview comes with tongues.
Absolutely.
So, how are you?
Everybody, welcome to the Dead Men of The Walking Dead. I'm Eric.
It's nice to sit down. Thanks for the nice couch.
Right?
Nice
Cushy out here. That's pretty. I'm sticking with ghosts here. First of all, anybody who has any questions, feel free to stand up at the mic. We'll just go ahead and turn it over to you. I'm sure you have plenty of questions, but I need to get some more questions off of my phone. But 3 of you we saw killed on camera, so we know you're dead.
Unfortunately.
We did not.
There's always hope for like a comeback.
So you're right. My character did not receive an on-camera death. I have a little theory behind that. Let's hear it. My theory is he's not dead. I mean, I'm just saying. That's what I'm thinking. You know, we got body parts laying around everywhere. People's heads get blown off. You can't tell me nobody can get killed, shot, or something. We're just supposed to believe he's dead. I don't buy it. If you ask me, he's laying low, commando style, somewhere in the woods, mud on his face, ready to appear out of the water like, what was that, Schwarzenegger, Rambo, right? Stallone, some first blood type stuff is going to be popping off there. That's my theory.
Okay, great. So, before you guys were cast, had all of you read the comic beforehand?
I have, yes.
So
I had not, but I was a huge fan of the show.
Right on.
I looked at all the pictures. It's nice to write a graphic novel.
Well, I'm curious, Daniel, so you took on the role of Alan, but a very distinctly different role in the comic than he did in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you went about making that your own, since it was a very different sort of role.
You know, the thing that I found interesting about it is Alan on the show had a different path, but in a lot of ways, the story was still the same. You know, he ultimately was, after the loss of his wife, and obviously the loss of his son later on, he just was an unhappy guy. And he really wasn't built he wasn't made to survive in zombie apocalypse. I think that's very true of Alan in the comics. And he eventually just gave up entirely. And that's what I felt like as Alan on the show was kind of the same thing. It's like he's going to pay a lot of lip service. He's going to try and talk tough, you know, and I'm going to get revenge for the death of my son and all that kind of stuff. But when it came down to it, he had an opportunity to shoot the governor, and he should have.
Do you think then, that's right, do you think then that Alan was relieved to be put out of his misery for all of that? Seriously.
Yeah, no.
You went charging into prison.
Well, I think he had a choice. I think he could have pulled that trigger, and he hesitated. It cost him his life. And after having lost the rest of his family, I honestly think that was just as good an option for him.
It's the old Yeller scenario.
Right. But he held because he made that choice, because of that hesitation, he held on to his humanity. He never actually took a life on the show. So that's something that I love about what they did for Alan.
Now, you had the option to take out the governor. Now, Jose and Travis, you guys just shared a look and then you just abandoned the guy. You could have taken him out right then.
Yeah, we could have, but you know, I like to think there was a moment of shock with the characters in that, you know, here's a guy who they, had developed some sort of trust with, obviously because they were riding with him. And then to see him then turn and massacre all of their friends, everybody's like, why did you shoot him? They were in shock too, they didn't know what was going on. Everybody was freaking out, as you can tell by the look on their faces.
Well, I think, blind following, or following someone so blindly and loyally, it's obviously dangerous. And we have examples of that in history, of course. And, you know, this guy, before he became the governor, or as he became the governor, he accomplished really amazing things. You know, he actually saved and was responsible for some of these people's safety. And I think Martinez, you know, there's so much trust in that, not in a kind of shadow, but it's like a weight, you know. And, there is that state of shock, but at the same time, it's something you know, and you can't make that kind of split decision. And I think Martinez also had a debt to repay to the governor, and I think it's quite evident in season 4 when that Walker chick is crawling through the fire, which was so cool. It was one of my favorite days on set, and he's just sitting there listlessly, and you know, once Martinez puts her down, then the next day we're gone. So I think at that point, the debt had been repaid. So, yeah.
Do you feel that Martinez made a mistake in trusting the governor when he came back? That he had changed and reformed himself? I mean, obviously he made a mistake because he killed you, but...
Yeah, so I think that's a short answer, yes. Yeah, the short answer is absolutely. But again, I mean, before he was the governor, I think Martinez looked up to him almost like a big brother. And when he became the governor, the demonic evil one, then it was like a different person. And then to look down that pit and to see someone that you actually recognized from before, you know, like it was like a split personality. I think it was welcoming to say, hey, look, my brother's back. You know, so was it a mistake? Sure, but you have to be true to who he is. You know, he's a little guy. So.
I mean, I would put the same question to you that you asked me, because it seemed to me in season 4 that there was definitely a world weariness or a war.
Stalker!
Okay, nobody can believe this guy died off screen. No way.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I have so much anxiety already.
Me from AMC's Comic Book, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna get you, man.
Right?
God.
What is all this for?
And who got the silly string?
So they plan a surprise attack. It's alright. I got another ammo, baby.
Okay, everybody, take a look at all the Nerf bullets that you're finding. They are signed. The ones that came off this stage were all signed. Don't hurt each other. Okay, Daniel Thomas May, he still has some with his autograph on there.
Yes, bring him back to us. Yes. We'll be helping along. Nobody. All right, May. You're on our team now. May's on our team.
So, May is a dead guy from the Walking Dead.
Right.
But you guys heard from Ming already.
Alright, are we settled down now?
Ming's taking a time out. You sit there. You probably think about it.
Think about what you did wrong.
The one thing I do want to ask you is, do you play golf? And if so, do clubs terrify you now?
Well, people getting hit in the head is a very common theme when I play golf, so I think it was quite fitting. I'm not a good golfer. I do enjoy it. Somehow people keep inviting me to these events. And what's crazy about these events is that there's a row just like this, and I have to tee off. That's me like 50 people. And it's very emasculating because the ball doesn't even make it past the women's team. And from where I'm from, if you don't do that, then you have to drop your pants. You know that rule, right?
That's what I play golf.
Okay,
It's fun to play golf with me. So.
you're talking about an
It's
masculine.
good.
You're sitting next to the two of you guys. Come on here.
Nate, how you feeling? Are you feeling like a little girl?
Now, Nick, speaking of injuries to the head, you took one of the most shocking injuries
I
to
know
the
a little
head
bit about
in the
that.
show. Absolutely. I'd love to hear about that experience.
You'll live nicely though.
Getting machete.
You're gonna be okay. You know, I mean, when you're doing something like that, it's always really technical. You know, they had two different machetes. They had one that it was a real machete, and the camera's over here. He's bringing down, and like, granted, like, you know, I just met this dude. I don't really know him, you know. And as the actor, he seems like a nice guy, but he has a real machete that's sharp, and he's swinging it right at my head. And he's like, I'm just gonna go like right to the left of your head. Like I'm just gonna bring it down, you know, right by your ear. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Just do a really good job. You know, rolling, and he goes and he brings it right here. We do it several times, and then they bring in, and luckily he didn't cut my ear off, which is great, very nice of him. And then they bring in another machete that was fitted to my head, that had a little tube of blood that they would pump blood out of it. You know, when they edited it together, it looked amazing. It looked like I got a machete in the face.
Oh, that was
I've died a lot of times. I've died in almost every project that I've ever done.
I think it's because Gomez, Cantillo, anything with that sort of loud sounding we're done.
The first question my mother asks me every time I sign on to a new project is, do you live? And I always say, for a bit.
I think you died in Looper as well, if I recall.
Yeah, I did. I blew up in that one.
Yeah.
You know what I just found out that I thought was really amazing? Game of Thrones. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones. Huge fan. So I'm watching Game of Thrones, and I find out Aidan Gillian is the actor who plays Lord Baelish, which is one of my favorite characters. And that's when it hit me. I had worked with him before on this movie called 12 Rounds, and in the movie I die, like I do. But he was, in the scene, he was stabbing me in the chest with this knife. And he, you know, granted it was a plastic knife, but it was still very pointy. It was still sharp. And he thought, for some reason, that I had on my protective vest, which I didn't. And so he starts rolling and action, and he starts stabbing me in the chest. And I'm like, whoa, cut, bro. I said, bro, you're stabbing me, man. I'm like, stop stabbing me. I still have scars.
You have the 4D experience from Game of Thrones then.
Yes, very much.
So these
I
are
was
all
a fan, like, geeked out though. I was like, Lord Baelish stabbed me. It was like my best day. I was so excited.
we should keep notes of all these great deaths because what we're going to do in May in a little bit. So.
Yeah.
So me, when you die this evening on The Walking Dead, how's that going to go for you this week?
Am I getting decapitated? I think it's good. I think that's my first target for sure.
We'll just say it's going to be
Still
bad.
explaining
And then when he comes back, he'll be a female walker.
Well, the joke has always been, you know what, zombies don't eat me because an hour later they'll be hungry again.
Do you do delivery as well?
So I'd love to hear about your guys' favorite memories from being on the set. And then what it was like to get that death call eventually.
Thanks, man.
Find out that you're going to be on the show.
My favorite moment on set was when it was our director's birthday. And we all decided, all of us, it was the scene in the prison where we first meet Andrew and T-Dog and it's like this, you know, face-off in the middle of prison. Well, for the director's birthday, we decided for one take, we would all wear really ridiculous funny hats. And so we all had these really crazy, I think I had some birthday hat on, and Norman had like this weird Snoopy hat on, and T-Dog had like this cactus thing. And then we entered the scene, and we're doing like this really intense scene, pointing guns at each other, but with these really crazy weird hats on. And we actually made it halfway through the scene. It was hilarious. That was my favorite moment, I think. Before I got my machete in the face. Huh?
Yeah, where is that? I want to see that.
One of my favorite memories was shooting the opening of the first episode that I was in, and Tyro's group, when we were out in the woods and it was raining, and it was one of those rare opportunities that on the production they try to avoid shooting in the rain whenever possible. It just creates so many logistical nightmares. But because of the schedule, we just had to shoot on this day. It was the only day we were going to get the scene. So it was great though, because you really had to be focused to not hit some of the extras and the zombies and the guys that were out there. I had one guy one of the guys that I bashed in the head. He's like, just go ahead, just go for it. I got a foam bat, All right, great.
Yeah, but that foam bat is actually still pretty hard.
But he had built.
I was surprised how those extras really took
going after it. But slipping and sliding and just having a great time in the rain, running around in the woods. And I actually saw one of my buddies. I didn't even know that he was going to be working as an extra, as a zombie extra. And he was lying there. He got killed by somebody else. And I was walking by in between, a take. And he's like, "Hey, JC, what's up?"
That's hard being, I give a lot of respect to the walkers, because they lie there.
Oh my God, it was so hot. Gosh, it's so hard. And you're laying on the ground, covered in all this latex, and I feel so, I'm like, are you okay?
No. Bugs. They just lie there.
I stepped on a couple of them. I thought they were like, the little fake. Tyro has like some that look like, real people, but they're fake. And he does such a good job with the makeup. Seriously, I kicked a couple bags and I was just like, oops, oh, you're real sorry.
He stepped on a few and they couldn't get up, and then he just kind of tiptoed away.
That's how I went down.
We have a question here. Let's go ahead and take this.
Hi. I just want to know who your favorite living character is and why. Each of you.
I mean, Daryl's mine. Who doesn't want to be that guy?
I like the guy who started it all off. I'm still a Rick fan.
And I give my vote to Carol.
Although I'm super excited to see what happens with Chandler. Like, that guy's gonna grow up into like a really badass or just like a sociopath. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Or both.
Probably both.
And Abe.
Oh yeah.
Carl should have stayed in the house. This is true. Next question.
Hi, I have a question. So this is actually for Jose Pablo. Marketing.
Connie?
What's that?
Yes.
Hey, look at that, Connie.
If you had a choice of being killed off, would you prefer the pit or the golf club?
If I had a choice, I think the pit is cool. As unique and as different as the golf club is, I think it's just painful to be killed by another human. The pit's fun. It's like a big zombie orgy.
Wait a minute, so you would take a golf club to the head where it could be over very quick. You'd rather go into the pit and be eaten piece by piece?
That's right.
That's how it works.
Would you prefer a dry 4-iron, 5-iron?
I think it was a 7-iron, by the way. But hey, you know what? The golf club didn't take me out. Okay? It took a whole team of
Whole
zombies.
team of zombies, baby. That's how you're supposed to go.
I was still.
That's how you should go. A whole team of zombies, right? Not just, oh yeah, he's dead. Come on.
The story at least was a whole team of zombies. It took a whole team to take you down, man. So this guy said.
So
we
we
trust
trust
these
legions of
I bet
zombies.
you're gonna come back.
I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? It could.
Shumpert/Bowman. Which one did you prefer, Shumpert or Bowman?
I like Shumpert, because it's original. I thought at first he was the only black guy on the planet named Shumpert, but there was also a player for the New York Knicks whose last name was Shumpert. So, oh yeah, it's my cousin.
There we go. All right. Another question?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys watch the show, keep up with it, or if you watched it before you were on, but I'm wondering what your favorite death scenes of characters other than your own were.
That first one, when Rick shot that little girl, that was pretty, I was a huge fan of the show before I did it, and that stuff was...
Lizzie's in this recent season was it was just so brilliantly written and directed, it had so much impact.
She was so good at that. She was solid.
Amazing. Brighton's incredible.
I think the one that happened off camera though was really the one that just always comes to mind when Chandler had to take out his mom. I mean, I know it didn't happen, you know, on screen. I guess it was a preventative Walker death, but still, I can't ever get past that.
I tell you the one that got me the most was when Sophia came out of the bar. You know what I mean? I was like, that one kept me deep. You know what I mean? Just because, and especially how, you know, you had Daryl putting all the effort to find her and everything. Everybody wanted to believe she was still alive. And then she came out of the bar, and I was like, oh man, it got real.
That was a great question. Thank you. Another question?
Hi, so I was wondering what weapons would you use if there's actually a zombie apocalypse?
The Nerf Tommy gun.
Oh, there it is.
It's my weapon of choice.
Brought to you by Nerf.
I'd get a big catapult. I've never done that. Catapult? Why not? Get a giant catapult.
Stick it with zombies and shoot them at each other.
Shrapnel, you know what I mean? Just float nails.
Alright, this question's for any of you guys. Whose baby do you think it is? Saints or Brooks?
I think it's Shumper's.
Look, no fact, show me now.
I'll make it happen 1 second, but I guess it's good.
I'll put my money on Shane.
Come on, let it be Shane's.
Me too, I got a thing. Come on. What do you think?
Chris got a kid.
Who do you think?
Well, who here was at the John Bernthal panel a little while ago? So you all heard what he thought. Well, he says unequivocally, it's Shane's. That is his baby.
That could happen. Not the Hiltons.
So, we understand a little bit of Alan, you know, his son, wife, that kind of thing, but we don't really know much backstory on the rest of you guys. Did you create backstories for yourself? For instance, Nick, why were you in prison? What did you do?
You know what? When I auditioned for the role and I booked the role, and then I showed up on set and I'm walking to set and I think I'm about to do the role that I auditioned for it and I had completely prepared for it. Then that's when they told me that what I was doing was not at all what I was doing, because we're so tight-lipped with the show that I had no idea what my character was until I was on set and we were about to start filming. Now I knew I was a prisoner, so I had some kind of backstory, but it was completely different. And so I really didn't have a lot of time to really come up. We had one meeting really quickly for like 10 minutes with the producers and the writer and the director. We thought about with me, Axel, and the other prisoners, and maybe like how long we've been there, what it was kind of like. But 10 minutes, and that was all we had. And then we went right to set, and it was just hit your mark and say your line and let's go.
I think you were in for being a transvestite hooker, wasn't that? Is that what it was?
That's a crime. That's a crime.
That was the backstory, I thought.
That's why I was so upset.
Because that's what came through the screen, I'm just saying.
I'm a multi-layered actor.
Shumper used to do real estate prior to the Saturday.
Margie?
He was a gym teacher. And I think it talks about that in one of the, so I did the cheat sheet. There was a character breakdown I saw at a bookstore. I was so excited when I got cast in the role. And I started doing research for it. And he was a junior high gym teacher when the whole thing went down. I always thought that he was like on a cougar cruise, but
Now, famously, Shumpert was a man of very few words. And you had that glowering look that you would just stand there and give. And it was so funny to hear the fans speculating and ruminating and going, why is he looking at Michonne that way? What's going on with that? What was going on in your head?
Michonne had just broke up with Shumper prior to their reconnection and that thing. No, but I like that too, though, about the character. Everybody's like, when are you going to talk? You know, but the fact that what was on his mind was on everybody else's mind was cool to me. Everybody wanted to know, well, what is he thinking? What is he going to do? Well, who is this guy? Is he Tyro? You know. But I like that mystique that he had about himself. You know what I mean? So, kind of reminds me of myself in a few ways.
Oh, very nice. Now, Now, Nick, you very famously, and I don't know if we'd say overreacted to Big Tiny getting a little scratch there.
I'm sorry, I thought that was very necessary.
Probably was. That was a very
Hey, I'm not the way. They just didn't yell cut. I was going. I was like, just hit him in the head, right? Yeah, hit him in the head. And so then it was like 2 minutes, and he still just keep doing it. Am I just gonna keep doing it? And he kept squirting me with blood. I didn't write it, but yeah. You know, we were actually really good friends. Theo Crane, who played Big Tiny, we were really good friends in New Orleans because we lived, close to each other. And so when we found out we were both doing the show together, we were like, wow, man, yeah, we're going to be in the show together. And then when we showed up on set, we're like, hey, we're doing the show. And they gave me the script first. And I went to my trailer and I read it. And I was like, oh, my character is not the nicest guy in the world. Oh, shit, sorry, Theo. Oh, damn it. I'm shut in the head. So then I saw Theo on the way to set, and I was like, oh, hey, man, I'm sorry. And he said, for what? I said, nothing. Yeah, that was kind of brutal. It was a lot of fun, though.
So what is it like for your families and your friends to see you guys, not you, nobody got to see you go, but to see the three of you die on screen? I mean, I'm assuming your family now is getting used to it.
Yeah, they are. They see me. I die in almost everything. Like I said, my mom's really hoping I don't die. I have a new show that I'm doing now on the Sundance Channel called Red Road with Khal Drago from Game of Thrones.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, yeah. So that, I made it to season 2. So my mom's like, you're not dying. I'm like, no, I'm not. And my brother said, yet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next question.
Dying and all that. If you guys could rewrite your death scenes, how would you like to go home?
I loved mine. That was epic, man.
I was happy with mine.
Oh,
The
very happy with
only
mine.
thing that I would change about mine is I would have loved to have been a zombie. Just to be able to come back and spend that time in the makeup chair with Candy and Greg and the wizards, the thing. I would have loved being able to do that. So I actually suggested that when I was talking to Glenn when I got my death call. It was almost like, what if the bullet was just like, just here?
I said the same thing actually to the producers about my machete. I was like, what if the machete kind of just didn't nick my all the way to the brain and kind of just, and I came back as a zombie and they're like, no, Nick, you're dead, get out of here.
The only thing I would have just rewritten, I just would have put it like in season 5.
Okay.
Just stuck around a little longer, but the death was good.
Maybe a Martinez spinoff or something?
Yeah, I mean, I like the title Mayor Martinez. That's what people call him. You get your own town, or you get your own little village, and I was like, this is amazing. He said, you're going to absolutely love this. Like, I get to lead a whole group. It's an RV trailer group. Fantastic.
You had a tank.
But you got, what's that?
You had a tank, too.
I had a tank.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and there's a whole Oregon Trail. You get corral and everything. Season 6. So.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for your question.
So my question is, if any of you could have lived on the show, where do you think you'd be now, and would you have wanted to live?
Yeah, I really want to live.
Pretty happy when he dies.
When I left, I got to go do some really cool work. So I guess I can't complain. But I feel like it would have been fun to resurrect Woodbury. So it's a cool town. I love the town for real. Has anyone ever been to Sonoya? It's a really neat town. I mean, it's they boarded everything up and all the businesses stay open. So it was like a 360-degree site. So you could go get a slice of pizza, even though it was boarded up and looked like it was the apocalypse. So you lived there for so long that I would love to try to bring it back. Maybe rename it though. Martinezville or something.
I would have liked to stuck around a little bit longer, and I would have liked to have seen what happened if Alan had let go of his humanity, if he'd snapped, and what that character would have become, how brutal and ruthless he might have become. I wanted to explore a darker side of that.
I take it back in terms of the death. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about it. When you said like go humanity, it'd be pretty cool to do like a Scarface ending. Like use something like this, yeah.
Next question.
We'll hear you. I can read others.
There you go.
If you could have been killed by any character on the show, which one would you choose and why?
You what? I I'd get killed by you. You look pretty vicious.
Choose to get killed by
Ask the baby. Totally. And why? Because that would be unique. That would be awesome.
And if I had my brothers and we saw Alan, you know, continue to kind of spiral downward, then I would say Sasha, eventually. Have her have taken out.
I would like my twin brother to show up and have killed me, and then go on living for like 7 seasons and become awesome.
I don't read the comic books much, actually at all, but I heard in the comic books, Michonne did a number on Shumpert, and that would have been cool to kind of play that out. However gruesome it might have been, I heard it's pretty bad, but this would have been cool to go out, you know, buy the katana sword.
Yeah, it was at a Walmart. I think it's a slightly different name, but he gets taken out at a Walmart and he gets sliced up pretty good. So
That's
You
a
know
good
what?
you know you're rocking that trivia, huh?
a few things.
Can you stop him? He's really good.
I know we've spoken before actually about it. So.
Hey, calm down. Stump him. You have a good trivia question for him.
Oh, I couldn't. I'm sure I could. So.
Let's do it. Let's wager something.
We're turning this around on me.
Okay, so you got what was Shumpert's backstory?
What was Shumpert's backstory?
Yes.
Is that in the card? No.
His name was
That's incorrect. What about you? You got another question?
You never get one of the henchmen's backstories. Those you don't get in the comic at all.
Henchman. There you go there.
Actually, Daniel, one thing I'm curious about. You do show up in season 4 for a brief scene. Did you come back to reshoot that?
I did.
You did. Okay.
That's incorrect.
You know, one of the things that I loved about the Lizzie's death, the Look at Flowers episode, why don't you tell us about how that storyline is actually connected to Alan?
Okay, so originally in the comic, are you all you guys read the comic for the most part? So I could go ahead and say this or that's okay, fine. So in the comic, Alan has two young twin boys, Ben and Billy. Now, of course, Ben was much older in the comic, and Ben goes a little bit psychotic, and he ends up killing his little brother, and basically mirroring the same Lizzie Nika thing that happens much later on. I was so happy that they actually brought that to the show to bring that whole story around, because that's a bit shocking to see one child killing another child.
I was sure when I came onto the show and realized that I had a teenage son, and only one, not the twins. I was sure it was because they were not going to pursue that storyline. That was something that was going to be too intense for the show. So when they actually did it, I was blown away.
Well, and I think that episode of The Grove is pretty much standing right now as one of the most shocking episodes the show has ever seen. So, did you suspect that's what they were doing as they were moving along with Lizzie's burgeoning psychosis?
I had my suspicions. Yeah.
Cool. Next question.
Yeah, this is for Jose and Travis mostly. The governor is like one of my favorite characters ever, but he's also like pretty terrifying. And so I was just wondering what it was like working with David Morrissey and how it was filming scenes with him, because I mean, it's like so intense, and I don't know, what was it like in real life?
Look, he's such a good actor, and he's such a nice, like, gentle person. And so, I mean, just to flash forward real quick to when he killed me. I trusted him completely, because they asked a lot of me that day. We got a lot done in one day. You know, you get hit by the golf club, and then you roll off, you know, the RV, and he has to, of course, drag you 40 feet and hang you upside down. I felt safe with him, you know, because I know how funny odd that sounds, because the guy, you know, I lost my paycheck because of him, but no, but he's a thespian. He's been doing it for so long that I always felt very comfortable. He's very spontaneous, though, and he can do so much very nuanced acting with just one eye. Like it's so funny because it's like he's like this, and he's close up to you, like it's close up, and it's almost like his eye just does this little thing, and it's chilling. And then as soon as he all cut, and he's like, cheerio, he's all like pleasant. And is that good for you? That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for that question. I love working with Dave. I'd be so lucky if I got to work with him again.
That's the piggybacking off of what he said about like as soon as he cuts, he kind of goes back into a different person. I remember times when we'd be sitting in chairs, chatting, joking about whatever, and then they're like, all right guys, we're up, we're ready to go. And he would literally go from cracking a joke to that sociopath you saw on TV. You know what I mean? And it would be weird for me. I'm like, dude, we were just cracking jokes over here. You know what I mean? And he would just like a light switch, you know what I mean, turn it on. So I really respected that. I felt like I learned a lot just being in the presence of an actor of his caliber, you know, watching him do his thing. But he definitely has a switch, you know what I mean? And it's weird when he hits it, you know? It's like, wait, you were nice, now you're crazy, I don't like this. Yeah.
Andrew Lincoln wasn't like that. I had no idea that he had an accent, a British accent. He was talking to me when we were having lunch. He was like, "Yeah, my house in England," and I was like, "That's weird. You have a house in England, huh?" And I saw him in an interview like later. And I was like, "Oh, he's fucking British." Oh. I had no idea. And he keeps the American accent the whole time. I was like, "I thought you were from the South, man. I don't know."
And to address the terrifying intensity of David and what he's able to bring here, another great thing about him. He's so amazing about sharing that intensity and his talent, and there were definitely times where he kind of became the ringleader. The director had a say in, you know, when we would start a take and stop it, but if David was really going to bring intensity, he made sure that everybody else knew it and brought everybody along. It's like he challenged all of us, said, "This is where I expect you to meet me here." You know, it was really cool to be a part of that.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Sorry. I just asked, how was it filming your death scene?
How was it filming your death scene, Travis? No, I'm fixing my
Brilliant. It was a song.
It was exhausting. I mean, it was exhausting. I had this harness that I had to wear underneath my clothes so that David could, you know, drag me to 40 feet. And, it was odd because I had to sell it as if he's dragging me, but at the end of the day I was crab walking. You know, I tried to basically walk myself to this pit so that he could, you know, be framed up for camera and make it look like, you know, it's still intense, but otherwise I don't think he would have been able to drag me the full way. And so you know, you're helping your way to your own demise, so that was really odd. And then I got
on a board that was like tilting over.
Yeah, so then by the time we made it to the pit, you know, you reset, and I was on this sort of 6-foot plank. I guess that's fitting because he's, you know, one eye pirate patch thing. So I got tied to this plank, and they frame it over the crane, so they're looking down at the pit of the walkers, and my head, of course, and torso are overexposed, but my waist down is secured on the board. And so then Russell Towery, he's a great stunt coordinator, he would then lift the board, and then he would just teeter-totter me down into the zombies. And you know, they just left me down there for a while, and so all the blood rushes to your head, and you're not breathing, you're screaming like a little girl, no offense, and you start to black out, you start to get a little fuzzy, so when they bring you up, you're like, I'm fine. And I almost walked into the pit, because it just, yeah. It was, thanks for bringing that up. There's a lot of therapy.
Well, as Nick has said, and as he just described, so much can be so technical when you're actually shooting it. There's so much that has to go into it, and mine is actually really straightforward. You know, the effect of actually getting the headshot is done digitally after the fact, and so for mine just kind of happened, and then it was like, okay, great, set up, next take. You know, there was no muss, no fuss about it. Everyone was grateful for my death. I mean, just that it was so straightforward. I'm saying from the point of view, like it wasn't, they didn't have to put a whole lot of work into it.
It's because you're a good actor, you pulled it off in one take.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi. If Martinez had never stayed with the governor, or if he kind of like stripped away, do you think he would have survived or would he died?
Yeah, I think he'd still be around there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think what was so cool about being mobile was that the idea that they were going to continue to explore and see if they could find a new haven of some kind. And I think Martinez had figured out to take the best of Woodbury, which is the pits, and how to fortify an area, but at the same time, the danger of having neighbors. And so if he had just continued on the road, I think it would have been, I don't know, I like to think he'd still be around. Yeah. That governor. I should have left him in there.
We should have never gotten in that truck, that's for sure.
Somebody would be allowed to.
So in an interview, I think it was like mid-season 4, in Lincoln, I was talking about just walking the street, fans would come up to him and say, hey, you're gonna die, just like straight to his face, just keep walking. What's the craziest thing that fans have said to you?
I'm hearing some crazy things that fans have said to me.
Yeah. That the fans are blowing on you right now.
Yeah, the craziest thing a fan has said to me I was in Timonium. I was at a bike show, this is another show, Sons of Anarchy, and I played this character named Salazar. And the fans from West Virginia, they really do believe, they really suspend their disbelief so much that when they come to your table, they don't, and pardon the young kids in the audience, but these fantastic toothless fans, they come up to you, and God bless them, but they don't want to take a picture with you, they don't want to buy anything, they don't want to say you did a great job. They literally would just come up in overalls, wearing just overalls, and wearing nothing but overalls and a beard, and they would say, I'm so glad you fucking did. And at first I was like, I guess I pulled it off. You hated me.
I get that a lot too.
I fucking hated you. I was like, you want to take a picture? He's like, no. And he waited in line, like 30 minutes to do that. Not when I meet you.
I have dudes come up to me at Target and be like, I hate you so much. Thank you. I'm just gonna get to the tomatoes.
I guess that's weird, it's strange, but at the same time, it's a compliment. I did my job.
Exactly. I think the first time, and it's happened more since, so I'm grateful for that. But I get that too because my character wasn't always likable, and so one of the strangest things, I was really surprised the first time somebody said, "I really liked your character," and I kind of
freak out when you say that. Like,
I haven't heard that word. Did you say that again? Okay, no, I'm going to record this again.
Hey Daniel, I don't know if I ever said this, but I'm so glad when they fucking killed you.
I do get that.
It was a compliment, but it wasn't from a fan. I was doing this movie once with a bunch of real Navy SEALs, and I had to die, and I just went for it. I die a lot, so I get how to do it. And I really went for it, and I get shot, and one of the Navy SEALs came up to me afterwards, and he said, dude, that's exactly how they die. I was like, thanks. Whoa, I'm gonna go this way.
Now take off the dress.
All right, well, last question for you guys. We're running out of time. What do you miss the most about not being on The Walking Dead, or about The Walking Dead, excuse me?
Well, I love doing these conventions because I love these guys. It's like the cast. You spend so much time with the cast and the crew, and so one of the great reasons to do the circuit is that I get to see all my friends again. By all means, the relationship. It's a strange thing to do. I live in LA. You get cast in the show using dummy sides that you're sort of not misled, but you think this character's one thing and you show up. And what's so unexpected though is the camaraderie. I go to this small town in south of Atlanta. I don't know anybody. It's always the first day of school for you. You start your job as soon as you die, and you do it. I'm the same way, and you really form these great bonds, and then all of a sudden it's over. And then and they're so far away, you really don't have a good reason to see them again. So this was unexpected, being the reason I would see it.
Yeah, totally. I didn't see this coming. It's great though. Love it.
Yeah, the cast, I would echo the same sentiment. Cast, crew, it's a special thing. It was a gift to be able to work on that show, and all of the people were fantastic. Just to give an example, when one of the first days of shooting that I had was when Donna, my wife, died, and we brought her in, and we were trying to figure out if she was dead from the bite or not. It was a really intense, big emotional scene for me, and you know, we were shooting it again and again and again. At one point, we were between takes, and I wandered off to collect myself, and I looked over, and Scott Wilson was sitting over in what we call Video Village, where they have monitors set up so you can see what's happening. And he made a point, and I hadn't met him yet. I hadn't had an opportunity yet to actually meet him and say hi. But he made a point of looking over to me, making sure that he caught my eye, and he just gave me a little thumbs up. And that's not the kind of thing that you always get in this business, is that kind of support. And the friendships they form.
That's so Scott Wilson, he's so awesome because he's been doing this for so long.
Like a grandpa. You're like a grandpa.
He just knows what you need.
We actually didn't do a film together, but I was working on the film when I was like 16 in Arizona. I was like a PA, I was like a gopher basically. And he was doing this film in Arizona, and it was my job to go pick him up from the airport. So I went to pick him up at the airport, and I had to drive him out to set for like 2 hours, and we kind of like, you know, we didn't talk much, but it was like, hey, how are you? And so when I saw him, you know, on Walking Dead, I was like, hey man, we actually met like a decade ago. And he was like, I told you you'd go somewhere. And I was like, oh, you.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much. That's it.
Thank
Hi, Tyro Man. I'm at Walker Stalker Con, and I'm talking with Daniel Thomas May. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you? Have you ever been a Nerf war correspondent?
I have not.
Well, you are now. So I apologize if I'm a little
winning?
distracted. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get shot in the back of the head.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, that's good. You don't want to get shot in the back of the head.
No.
Yeah, because you don't want to
I've already been
zombies.
shot in the head on the show, and so, sorry, spoiler alert. That's,
Yeah, you don't want that happening again.
No. I'm a little sensitive about it now.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little about the character you played on the show?
Yeah, Alan, he comes in midway through the third season, part of a new group of survivors, which includes Tyrese and Sasha. They're still around on the show. And I came in with my wife, Donna, my son, Ben. Donna died right off the bat, and then I spent all of my energies, everything that I had, went into trying to protect my son, which I failed to do. And yeah, it was a tough run.
Yeah. Cool. So how did you get started in acting?
Gosh, well, I've been acting for the better part of 20 years. Mostly, the majority of my career has been stage work, and I've worked my way into film and television now. So I got started doing it in high school and college, and really fell in love with it. So, yeah.
What are you currently working on?
Currently, I've got a new character that was introduced just toward the end of the most recent season of Nashville. And I also have a character that's recurring on Being Mary Jane for BET. And then there are always numerous irons in the fire as well. So more news as I have it.
Now, do you go to many conventions?
I do, yeah. I've been going to a lot more. Of course, representing myself as a member of the cast of The Walking Dead. So, yeah, it's been great fun.
Cool. Do you have a favorite city that you've toured on the convention?
Oh, God, well, I had the pleasure of getting to visit Dusseldorf, Germany earlier this year, which was really cool.
Nice.
It was a beautiful town, and I really enjoyed my time over there. Got to go and do San Diego Comic-Con last year, which is just the biggest game in town.
Yeah.
In my hometown in Atlanta, I got to go and do Dragon Con, which is a great convention, great independent. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Pretty cool.
Right. So you have a website if people want to follow you?
I do, yeah, DanielThomasMay.com, and you can always follow me on Twitter at IamDTMay. It's easy to find. So
cool.
That's where I post any news that I have, and my various travels, and post photos of when I go to cons and things like that.
Great. Well, thanks for taking time to talk to us. We do appreciate it.
Sure thing. It was a pleasure.
Have a great con.
Okay.
Thanks.
Stalker Con.
Yeah.
I'm Nick Gomez. We're at Walker Stalker Con here in Boston. I'm with Tyro, man. What's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. We're having a lovely day here. I love your cape.
Thanks.
Yeah, and your little mask.
Yeah.
Totally don't know who you are.
I try to keep it a secret.
Oh, yeah, it's going really well.
Oh, good. Yeah. So how did you get started in the Walking Dead?
Well, I had my agent called me up and said you have an audition for The Walking Dead. I said yes because I love the show. I was a huge fan of the show. So I went and, auditioned for the show and booked it, and next thing I know, now I'm here talking to Tyro Man.
Cool. So what was your character on the show? Like, can you tell us a little about who you played, like what season?
The character I was Tomas on season 3 of The Walking Dead. I was in the prison. I was this really super charming individual who was just misunderstood, I guess.
Just like real life, right?
Yeah, and so I think I was just hungry and I needed a Snickers is what it was.
Oh.
And I, apparently there's no humor in the apocalypse, so you throw one zombie on a guy and he puts a machete in your face.
Yeah.
So that was the end of me, but it was fun while it lasted.
Oh, cool. How did you get started in acting?
I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Arizona.
It was hot?
It was super hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the desert, man. Yeah, it's hot. So way out there in like a little
like
trailer.
us, right?
Yeah, like me and you together, like super hot.
Yeah.
So, but behind my house, behind this little trailer that I grew up in, was this old Western film set where they made Western films in the 50s. But it was abandoned. But when I was in like 5th grade, they started coming back and making movies there, like Young Guns 2 and Quick and the Dead. And so I would bike there as a kid, and they would put me in as the poor little Mexican village kid with no shoes. And that's kind of how I got my start.
Awesome. That's a great story. So do you go to a lot of conventions now?
I've been to maybe like 4 or 5 now, and it's something I didn't expect. When I did The Walking Dead, I had no idea about this whole sort of world. But it's just always super fun, man. The fans are great. It's just nice to hang out and talk about the show because we're all fans of the show. So yeah, it's fun.
Cool. What would you say is the hardest part of acting? Getting the gigs, or is there
The hardest part of acting? Yeah. Thank you, Tina. I'm doing a thing here. Jiminy Christmas. Cut. No. You'll get your turn later. Yeah. Excuse the bullets are whizzing around here. The hardest part of acting is the waiting on set, because the acting is fun.
Right.
That's the fun part. It's the sitting around in your trailer like for hours and hours and hours. That's what they pay you for. That's where you make. That's why they make. Because the acting I do for free. Because that's the fun thing.
Right.
It's the sitting around doing nothing for a long time that's boring. Yeah.
What advice do you give to like a young actor trying to get into the field?
It's very, very hard, so don't give up. Persistence is the key. Like Christopher Reeve said, it's, you keep at it long enough, the impossible becomes possible until it becomes probable, until it just becomes inevitable. And if you keep at it long enough, so many people quit, you just got to stick with it because it's very, very difficult to do. So just got to keep at it.
Cool. All right. Do you have a website if people want to follow you?
You can find me on Facebook. Look me up on IMDb. I got a bunch of shows coming out. I'm on Red Road with Jason Momoa, Khal Drago from Game of Thrones, Tom Sizemore, and I'm on an episode of Major Crimes that airs this Monday, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you'll see me around.
So got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Great.
Well, nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was
Tyro
nice to meet
Man.
you. Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you too.
This is Nick Gomez and Tyro Man from
Tyro TV.
Tyro?
Tyro.
Like the name.
Yeah, like the
I'm
name.
an idiot. From Walker Stalker Con here in Boston. We'll see you later.
Well, a song about never saying never and never being told what you can or cannot do. This is one of us. Before I got to fighting, or when fighting got to me, I looked to find examples on the field of chivalry, and I saw mighty arms, much stronger than my arms could ever be. So I thought perhaps that field was not for me. But still I stayed and watched the fighting till one figure stood apart, in armor newly fashioned and a helm more pot than art. But each blow was thrown with honor and the lightness of the heart. So I took that step which soon became a start. 'Cause she was not the biggest fighter, nor one to raise a fuss, but I remember being proud that she was one of us. And we might never stand together in a shield wall side by side. Because of her I lift my sword with pride. ladylike and lively, not the type you would expect. With a braver heart than many and a slot shot to respect. And I guess she'd once decided this was where she'd like to be. And I thought if she could do it, why not?